What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Spectators Podcast. My name is Julian. I'm here with Brooklyn. It's episode 186. I know we missed last week, but we are back. We are ready to go. Third round of the NBA playoffs are upon us. We had some fantastic matchups. One of them went to 7. The others all went to 6. So really good series. There was no sweeps. It was a good time over here in the second round. And now we are
Mm-hmm.
left with a rematch on both sides of the bubble playoffs, as the narrative has been going around on Twitter that the bubble was not a fluke, although I never thought it was to begin with. Anyway, my name's Julian. Brooklyn, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good. Like you said, playoffs are heating up. It sucks we missed a week, but we always come back.
We
We
always
always
come
come
back.
back. You never stray too far from us, and
No.
and that's what we love. But yeah, I mean, I'm doing good. I took a little breather the last couple days. We've been
Yeah.
busy. I watched a little movie. I felt like I haven't sat down and watched
Watch
a
the.
movie at home in a while, but I actually checked out Air, the that new movie about MJ.
Oh,
It
okay.
was actually good. Yeah,
I've heard good things about it.
yeah, it was actually really good. I saw it was on Prime, so I was like, huh, well, why not? I
Okay.
enjoyed it.
I'm happy they released it like now and not like 2 years ago, because if they released it like closer to the pandemic, I would have been Michael Jordan out, which is crazy because he wasn't even playing anymore. But with his 40-part documentary that we got,
Yeah.
it was exhausting. So
Funny thing about this movie, and I mean, it's not a spoiler, and nothing's a spoiler for this because we all know how the
we all know.
story goes.
Yeah.
The guy they had playing Jordan was not shown in the movie at all. Like they did that classic Disney parent thing where they just don't show the face the whole movie. It was
So
weird.
Jordan's just not in the movie.
No, it's not a Jordan movie at all. It is
So,
strictly about Nike making the shoes and like the business side working with the parents. That's
okay,
it.
that sounds like something I'd like to see because,
Yeah.
as you know, and as some of you guys listening know, we used to have another podcast that's, I guess, pseudo related to the Spectators at this point. Not another sneaker podcast. Shout out to Jake Willard. That would be a great movie that I would love to watch with him at some point. I'm sure he's seen it now, but
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Okay,
It's cool.
we'll
I think
do.
you'll like it.
We'll do. On the topic of Michael Jordan, let's just get right into it. The playoffs
Mm-hmm.
have been great, and Michael Jordan's potentially illegitimate and unknown son, Jimmy Butler, has been absolutely balling. Has been absolutely balling. He definitely took a step down in this series versus the Knicks, as that would typically go as a much better defensive team, and they had like adjustments get made at some points, as opposed to the Bucks. But Jimmy was definitely still prevalent. And this Heat team, although I still think that they're pretty significantly less talented than like the Knicks and the Bucks, um, just kind of go to show that Spoelstra is just maybe the best coach in the league.
Yeah. Shout out Spole. Like he's bringing this quirky group together and making stuff happen, and you gotta respect it. You gotta respect it because you go from a guy who was just like the media film dude back in the day for Pat Riley gets a coaching job. You get LeBron and that big three. You go ahead and win some chips, and it's like okay, cool. But is
Mm-hmm.
it you or is it them? Now,
Yeah,
now he putting it on his back, and it's like nah, this me,
this
this
is,
me.
and
I'm
it's
the man for the
crazy.
job.
It's crazy too. I saw a graphic, because the Celtics also won, so they're going to be playing the Celtics in the
Hmm.
conference finals now. And it was pretty much like for the last 15, 20 years, every conference final, besides the ones with obviously LeBron, where he was just dominating in Cleveland, has the Heat and or the Celtics. Every single one.
Hmm.
And it's like, and there's the one with the 76ers and the Raptors. That's like an oddball. And there's a couple other oddballs out there. Like
Yeah,
Atlanta was in one. That's just still crazy to me. The Hawks really almost went to a final. That's disgusting. But like, there's
it's not happening anytime soon.
no. And there's a couple oddballs out there, but for the most part, for the better part of our lives, the East is kind of just run through the Celtics and or the Heat, and a lot of that goes to Coach Spo because he's been there pretty much the entire time that
Yep.
this has been a thing. So he's one of the better coaches in the league. He did beat two coaches on the way to this conference final that won Coach of the Year, but Spoelstra has never done it. So I think that's kind of a funny thing. Goes to show that those awards don't really mean a whole lot. And shout out to the Heat, man. They played really hard in this series. I don't think they played great basketball either. And I really, really would be shocked, confused, led astray if they beat this Celtics team. But stranger things have happened.
I can't see a world that they do beat the Celtics, and I felt a lot more confident that the Heat would have been able to make a run if the 76ers were playing them. It's tough now because, I mean, you even see what Tatum did last night.
No.
Or what's the last night?
Yeah,
the day before?
Night. Yeah,
last night.
51.
Yeah. 51. Insane.
Most in a game 7 ever by anybody. Ever. The list of guys that have scored 50 are very small.
Yeah. So, like, I'm not expecting him to go ahead and do that again. But if that's in his back pocket, dude, you better hope Jimmy's going crazy and doing the same thing. Because you guys are going to have a problem.
It's definitely going to be a problem, too. And, the Heat lose Tyler Hero. They still start chugging along and all that. They're getting great contributions out of Gabe Vincent. And Kyle Lowry just, remembered that he knows how to play basketball. It's actually kind of crazy. That dude was pretty abysmal all regular season, and he looks like a very quality, player right now. And it's just, where did this come from? So, shout out to Kyle. How are you thinking this series goes? And I mean, hold on. Before we do that, let's backpedal a step. We did just get a game 7 in a 7-game series, the best series of all of them that just happened in this second round with the Celtics and the 76ers. Mm-hmm. Joel Embiid got his MVP, I think, during game 2 or game 3. I don't remember. Yeah, I think game 3, the first game in Philly. So game 3, he got his MVP. He did win it. I don't think he should have won it. I always thought it was a Jokic award this year. He was the best player in the league. I didn't really think it was close. Voter fatigue is a thing. People are looking at dominance as a factor. And I do think that kind of there's a truth to it a little bit. Dominance definitely matters, but dominance clearly comes and goes, right? And with the way that Joel Embiid played in this playoffs when he was healthy, and who knows if he's even healthy, but that's a classic Joel Embiid thing. And maybe that's what hindered him, right? The way that he played offense and tried to produce offensively was completely night and day from the way that he was playing in the regular season. He was taking the ball at the block, making plays happen, backing down smaller guys, kicking it out whenever he was getting doubled, if he didn't feel like he had a good advantage. And he was creating the offense through himself all season long. Mm-hmm. And that's why he led the league in scoring this year. He wound up winning the MVP because he led the league in scoring. He was pretty darn efficient as well. And then he comes into this series and he's just not very good when he's healthy. There's no other way to put it. 23.7 points per game is a very significant drop off from what he did in the regular season. 17.9% three-point shooting and only two and a half assists. Joel Embiid gets assists as a big man because of the doubles that he draws in. He's an efficient shooter. Not a great three-point shooter by any means, but he's a good three-point shooter.
He could pull it. Yeah, he could pull it.
He's a good one. 17.9%.
You got to respect it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it becomes really hard when Philly all season long has created this offense where it's like the Joel Embiid offense, and it's predicated on the way that he plays. And then we get into the playoffs, the lights get too bright. Now you're changing the way that you play for whatever reason. They're lucky they brought this to Game 7 realistically, because the way that he performed for the most part was just not up to snuff. It took some superhuman efforts out of James Harden going deep in his bag to even get them to their wins. And then obviously he was really, really bad. Harden was terrible in some of the games.
And that's another thing with Harden, because it's Game 7. You're scoring 9 points. 9 points with 6 rebounds. You almost had a triple-double, but it was going to be the most Draymond Green type triple-double ever.
Yeah.
It's 9 points, dog. You're supposed to be the counterpart to Joel. This is why you guys could have made things work. That's the Batman and Robin that is scary. We said when Harden got traded there, like that was a duo that is scary as hell.
Yeah, and the problem is too, like if
Like
Harden only scores 9, that's fine. But when Harden becomes inefficient, it gets really tough.
27.3% from the
Yeah,
field.
not great. And you want to hear kind of a sad thing too. So James Harden has played in quite a bit of game sevens in his career. He is a 36% shooter in all the game sevens in his career. 36%.
Crazy.
That is just not good enough. And it's a narrative that I really don't like in basketball, particularly where we say like this guy sucks in the playoffs, this guy's not clutch in the playoffs, the moment's too big for this guy in the playoffs. But like when you look at these guys and they do these things, like another guy we'll talk about in a minute on the
Mhm.
other side.
Oh no, I'm talking same side.
Oh well, I mean, there's plenty. Oh yeah, we'll get to him too. But like, there's just some like for whatever reason, just some guys just aren't good. And
Yeah.
you would go ahead and tell me about the other guy because I got his numbers lined up right here. I'm looking right at him.
Well. Let's just go ahead and talk about the ringleader of this whole thing and maybe why everybody just loses their superpowers in Game 7. Doc Rivers.
Ooh.
Mr. Last 5 Game 7s have been a loss.
Yep.
2015, 17, 2020, 2021, and 2023. Disgusting. You're 6-10 in Game 7s. Under 500.
Under 500. The worst
And
part
this
too.
one was just a collapse.
This was not good. This was not good. They lost by 30. They lost by 30. And I mean, granted, this was like a little bit less of a coaching thing. Just the players didn't shoot well at all today, and that kind of happens. But it's on the coach at times when you continuously get to game sevens. Getting to game sevens is a coaching malpractice. If you continuously do it, that means you cannot put series away. That means you don't know how to adjust. That means you don't know how to counteract adjustments made against you. And here's how you know this. Doc Rivers has coached 7 teams that have blown a 3-1 or a 3-2 lead in a series. 7. By far the most. There's not another coach that has more than 2.
Well, he has the most blown series leads in NBA history.
7. 3-1 or 3-2s.
Yeah, you want me to go through this whole list?
Yeah, because I'm down. This is a Doc Rivers hate club right now. That's what this is.
Back when he coached Orlando, he ain't have that magic in him. 2003, 3-1 blown series. Boston, 2005, 1-0. Okay, fine, whatever. But 09, 3-2. 2010, 3-2. 2012, 3-2. All series leads blown. With the Clippers, 14, 1-0. Again, whatever. Cool. Yeah. 2015, 3-1. 16, 2-0. 17, 2-1. 2020, 3-1. And then now, with Philly, 2021, you got a 2-1 lead, and then 2023, 3-2 lead. Every single one of those have been blown. Again,
it's on him.
He's not on the court. You look at the players, but at the same time, you're the coach. There is no way game to game you're not making adjustments to save your guys out there.
He doesn't make them.
There's no way.
He doesn't make them. And it's so sad. And this is how you know it's on his fault too. We went over this on my stream the other day. It was really funny. There are upwards of 20. You can go through his basketball reference and look at all the players he's coached. There are upwards of 20. That's almost 2 complete NBA rosters worth of players that are either in the Hall of Fame or should be in the Hall of Fame that he has coached in his career. 20.
Crazy.
And he has won a singular championship that had 4 Hall of Famers on it. And blown all these leads and all those. Doc Rivers is potentially the worst coach in the league. He might be, and this is a bad take, really, because obviously a bad coach would never even win games and get to the playoffs and all this stuff. But when it comes down to winning and getting your team to win a championship and a coach that you want to coach a unit of players. Doc Rivers might be the bottom of the list that I would pick from and one of the worst coaches in NBA history, because coaching, when you have the talent that he's had with over 20 Hall of Famers over your career and had such an esteemed career as the way he does, people talk about Doc Rivers like he's prime Popovich.
No.
It's just incredibly blinded, and the fact that he still has a job on this Monday at 142 is insane. I completely expect him to lose his job in the next coming days.
And if he gets another job,
He should
it's
not
gonna
ever coach
happen,
another
but
game in
it's
the
gonna be
NBA.
crazy.
Ever.
Because
Ever.
he's a great regular season coach, and that's cool. But at the end of the day, what is being a good regular season coach? Like that's just off the strength of you having a good team that's getting you to the playoffs. To be a good coach, you gotta win in the playoffs, and he's just not a good coach.
I mean, look at, again, go back to
Simply
Spoelstra.
put.
Look at Spoelstra. They barely made the playoffs. They were a play-in team that got the 8th seed. That means they lost their first play-in game. And he's a great coach. He makes adjustments. He knows the matchups, and he figures out ways to win 2 series. Now he's an 8th seed in the conference finals. That's insane. And
Yeah.
that's what good coaches do. The Heat team has way less talent than Philly. Jimmy Butler will never and has never been an MVP type of a guy. Jimmy Butler is nowhere near the player that Joel Embiid is. Yet here we are in the playoffs, and he's either getting out coached to put himself in a position to be that great player, or just wants it more. I don't know. That's a Joel Embiid question. I don't think there's a want it in Joel. I just don't know what it is, but you know.
Yeah, Joel's, because he got past all the immaturity that we saw early in his career. Now it's just a matter of like you mentioned earlier, was he healthy? Was that what really hindered
Nobody's
him? I
healthy
don't know.
now, though. Nobody's healthy, man.
Yeah, but again, when you're an injury-ridden big man like that, it's even harder because
It definitely is.
you get that type of injury for a smaller body. Like you might come back and be able to deal with it, but when you got close to 250, 300 pounds on whatever is hurting you, like,
It's definitely tough. I do want to switch right quick back to the other series just to throw my hate out. Julius Randle, you're a bum in the playoffs, an absolute shell of yourself. You're a fantastic player. The growth you've made over the years is amazing. You're a great dude. I'm happy for all the success you made. All NBA, couple-time All-Star. In the playoffs, you become a shell of yourself. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know what it is, but it is absolutely abhorrent. 3 for 14, 1 for 7 from 3, 3 turnovers in a game 6 that you must win to push a game 7 is unacceptable. And I hope you feel bad about that one. I know there's a lot of Knicks fans giving you slack and trades and all this and that and the other thing, which I don't fully disagree with, but like that is not a performance that you could be putting up when you already haven't played great this playoffs to begin with. So,
and in playoffs in the past.
So, get
So
wrecked.
it's not a one-off thing. If it happens for a series, it's like okay.
I mean, he's had 2 series. He hasn't played well pretty much at all, outside of like 3 games total of the 11 they've played. And sorry, dude. Like,
Not great.
it's not
not great.
So,
But at the same time, everybody around him wasn't that great either for that closeout game.
Jalen Brunson was maybe
He was phenomenal.
Jalen Brunson
phenomenal.
might have been the second best player in these playoffs, maybe third. He's just been fantastic, and he is a bona fide superstar. If you didn't think so before he got this contract, this season solidified it, and this playoffs solidified it. He is a superstar in this league.
Yeah, but for that closeout game, he had 14 made field goals. I don't even think the rest of the team combined for 14.
No, they didn't. They had 13.
Mm.
Jalen had 41 points. The Knicks only scored 92.
Yeah, because RJ he won 1 for 10.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It wasn't just Julius, but Julius has to get it because other guys had shown little spurts of greatness during the series, and Julius really didn't. So
yeah, it's been consistent, and again, this isn't the first time that this happened. And you're supposed to be the guy.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be Jalen. It's supposed to be you.
It's supposed to be Julius and Jalen, but it's Jalen and somebody else, please, anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So shout out to Jalen, but
it's not great.
Julius is one of this playoffs losers in general. As sad as it is, but the Knicks had a great season. Second round was not expected out of them, so snaps for all. Celtics Heat. We're both going Celtics here, right? I'm saying Celtics in 6. I'll give the Heat 2 wins at home, but
I I mean, I'm there with you. I would love the Heat to pull this out because everybody knows my hatred for the Celtics.
oh,
And
can't stand them. But I hate both of these teams. It don't matter to me.
I don't got any like true beef with the Heat, but yeah, I'm not gonna go ahead and say they're gonna do it because I don't think they will. I would love them to though. So yeah, Celtics in 6. I think
Feels
that's
right.
fair.
Feels right.
I wouldn't be surprised about 5 though because
I wouldn't
again,
either.
it's cool for the Cinderella and they've been doing it. And shout out to the Heat and the Lakers for proving all of our arguments to be false this year about the play-in.
Yeah.
Because here we are with 2 play-in teams, and it's cool to see. I still hate the play-in. Get rid of it
Yeah, it
because
still sucks.
I
Both of
don't-
these teams still would have made it anyway, so it's not like that changed anything. It's not like it was a 9 or 10 seed, like,
Yeah,
you know. So
but
yeah, I mean, if Tatum's playing this way, they're not beatable. Period. And the Celtics are a much better shooting team than the Knicks. And these games with the Knicks were still way too close, despite some guys playing way better than they probably should have. So, if the Celtics shoot 40% at any point in the series, they probably win that game, and that's probably going to be most of the game. So, it's a little kind of a tough matchup for them. Switch it over to the West. We've already slandered some guys. Who am I going after first?
you know who you're going after.
No, I don't think you know who I'm going after first. Jordan Poole. That's who I'm going after first. That's who I'm going after first. I know who you thought I was. No. Because Jordan Poole did a cardinal sin in my world. You know what that sin is?
What's up?
Proving Draymond Green right. It's a cardinal sin in my eyes. Draymond Green didn't want Jordan Poole to get this extension. He didn't appreciate Jordan Poole. He doesn't think he's that good. He punched him in practice preseason. All for Jordan Poole all year to have the most up and down season ever. He didn't play particularly well really at all season, but he had some fantastic games whenever there was an attractive woman in the stands. And he comes into this playoffs, 13 games, plays 22 minutes a game, only puts up 10 a game as a starter. That is pitiful. As a guy who's supposed to be really your second option. I know Clay is obviously still there, but Jordan Poole is a creator. He's able to create his own shot, also catch and shoot, get to the bucket. Like, that's really your second option when you want offense created through a guy, right? To shoot 34% from the field. And not only were you only shooting 34%, but all your misses were horrible misses. Transition off of, like, the Warriors would get a bucket scored on them. He would push transition, put up a bad shot. Nobody was there for the board. He wouldn't go after the board himself. And then the Lakers go down the court, easy bucket. And all of a sudden, it's a 6-point swing because you just decided to throw up a shot within the first 3 seconds of a shot clock and make bad offense. He wasn't very good. I hated it. And I hope he feels like he might get traded because there's plenty of teams that would like a Jordan Poole type guy. I know he's making a lot of money. I don't see a world where him and Draymond are both on this team next year. And although Draymond's the easier guy to get rid of because he's an unrestricted free agent, Jordan Poole is just not the guy the Warriors signed to the deal. He's just not him. He's not that guy. And that's okay. But again, this is a number 2 and at worst number 3 option on this Warriors team. And he was pretty pitiful for a majority of this, not only postseason, but season. The whole year. So Jordan Poole, you are today's biggest loser for me. Actually, no, it's Doc Rivers, but you know.
It's definitely Doc, but Jordan is right there behind him.
Yeah, man. Like, what else
pitiful.
can you expect Steph to do? Like, Steph had one bad game really in this series against the Lakers, and you know the Lakers just dominated them in Game 6. Like, just took it to them, and bad shooting. Klay Thompson wasn't particularly good. He vanished in game 6, which is Klay gets this game 6 Klay rep, and he's never been like fantastic in every game 6. He just had that one where he just decided to become Jesus Christ himself and just float and walk on water and just like close his eyes and hit threes against the Thunder. And that was like, as KD would put, a spiritual experience. That was crazy. But like, people thought this series was going to be easily won by the Warriors because of the way they shoot and their offense. They wouldn't have to go after AD and they could just make the threes that they make, spread the ball out, and score pretty easily. And they weren't able to do that at all. And it's because everybody else besides Steph couldn't score.
Yeah.
I don't think it's over for the Warriors, though. I think the Warriors could make a move or two. However they wind up going about it, I know they're going to have to move like a Jordan Poole or like free up some money to make this happen. But they're pretty close to being, again, contenders. I know their season wasn't great this year. Steve Kerr even said after they lost the series, like, I think this is about where this team could have gotten. Like, there wasn't much left in the tank. Like, we weren't good in the regular season. We struggled at times in the postseason. We still won that Kings series in 7. There's no way that this team could have gone another 7-game series and then beat the most talented team left in the league.
Yeah.
In Denver. Like, that just wasn't going to happen.
Because the fall off on this team, like name-wise and talent-wise, goes crazy after you get past like the 6-man. It's like,
Yeah. And which is typically not bad. I think 6-man rotations and 7-man rotations are okay for the playoffs.
they are.
It's tougher when you've had guys who have played a trillion playoff series and, time kind of catches up, especially you play 2 game 7s to get to the conference finals. Plus you've gone to the finals 9 times or however many the Warriors have. I think it's 8. And
there's a lot of wear and tear.
There's a lot of wear and tear. And so to play all these and force guys to play 42 minutes and it's tough. And you kind of see that out of like LeBron right now too, where it's
Sure.
like, man, he's been to a trillion finals and he's played so many playoff games. And it's like, yeah, he can't play 42 minutes in series that are going this type of, like, if he needs to win a game, he'll do it. But he can't do it every game. It's just not possible. And so you kind of see.
And I know that. I mentioned that earlier, like in our playoff preview. If you're expecting LeBron to carry you every single game like that, don't. Because he's gonna get gassed by the end of the playoffs.
He's gonna be tired, man, and that's just kind of the way it goes.
I mean, it's understandable. Like you're just constantly playing double than what anybody else in the league is. So of course you're gonna start feeling that way.
At some point, it hits you. But LeBron's been playing great, and the Lakers' defense has been sensational. Anthony Davis. Every game has been great defensively. He has a lot of lapses offensively some games, and I don't fully understand why. LeBron's been pretty good, too. He needs to stop shooting threes pretty much altogether. But outside of that, LeBron's been very good in these playoffs also. Playing great defense. He's not asserting himself in the paint as much as I'd probably like him to. He's going to have to do a lot more than that, or more of that in this series, because they don't really have a Draymond-type defender over there in Denver. I know Aaron Gordon's a great defender, and that's the guy that they put on people, but he is not Draymond. So LeBron's going to have to get to the cup a lot more and create for them to kind of keep up with Denver offensively. I don't fully like this matchup at all for the Lakers, though.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be really tough. Because we just saw what Jokic did to the Suns. And DeAndre Ayton is potentially a liability on like every asset. I know he's a decent defender, not really a great one. He's not built to defend a guy like Jokic who can spread it out and shoot from mid-range and from 3 and drive and get you off the floor. Like, he can do everything, which is why Jokic is the best player in the world right now. But he got done dirty. And all the talk for a lot of this series was about Devin Booker because he was making insane shots, and just scoring at crazy clips outside of the last game of the series. And Jokic was still outpacing Booker in terms of scoring, in terms of offensive efficiency, in terms of creating offense.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I've ever seen like this Jamal Murray Jokic 1-2 game. It reminds me a lot of a Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash pick and roll from back in the day, but like on crack.
Absolutely.
Because Stoudemire was a very good player and he could shoot a little bit of a mid range, but like he didn't create the way that Jokic can. And obviously, like Jamal Murray is not as good as Steve Nash ever was, but he can run that 2-man offense almost as good.
Yeah, this series is really gonna, I feel, come down to Anthony Davis and what he's gonna be able to do to stop Jokic. This is where Anthony Davis is really, really, really gonna earn his stripes, like legacy wise, for the Lakers and his career, because that's who you got to go through, Jokic. You got to stop him, and you're the guy. There's nobody else on that team. Like, yeah, you could pull LeBron, but then that's not it. You're the guy that got to deal with Jokic. What are you going to do about it? Try to just let him facilitate. Don't let him put up 40 plus another 13 assists.
Yeah.
Don't let him do that. Hold him to like 20, 25, like 7 and a couple of rebounds.
The hardest thing with Jokic though is like he doesn't need to score 40, and that's what's so crazy about. That's what's so incredible about him. And there's so many guys who watch basketball or like, and they'll like guys who score a lot. Joel Embiid's, the Dame Lillards of this world. But like when those guys go through cold streaks, they become liabilities. Like obviously you still get traffic towards them because they are Dame, Embiid, whoever else it might be, right? KD. But when you have a guy who's not only can do it, but is okay with scoring 12 in a game, Jokic can score 12 in a game, put up 17 assists. His 12 in that game will be on 80%. And you're just like, man, he dominated us. And he only shot the ball like 7 times.
Yep.
And it's like, what are you supposed to do about a guy who's that unselfish and is that like okay with an offense changing because of the way that he's getting looks? So even if Anthony Davis is stopping him and Jokic is only putting up 17, 18, 22 a game, whatever it is.
Well, the rest of the team is going to have to hold their weight on everybody else because AD has to go ahead and try to shut down Jokic. Try, because you're not going to shut him down. You got to try to hold him and let everybody else do their job so they could kind of halt whatever he's facilitating as well and whatever they're making happen on their own. You got to stop that because that's the only way you're going to do this. You got to divide and conquer this Nuggets team. Because if you fall short on any part, on anybody on this team,
There's too many good players on this roster. There's too many good players.
You're cooked.
Bruce Brown is a great spot up. KCP's looked fantastic at points in this playoffs. Obviously, Michael Porter Jr. is a mini microwave. He reminds me so much of J.R. Smith. I know he's taller and just like probably more like physically gifted than J.R. was, but like he reminds me so much of just microwave J.R. Smith. It's actually really fun. Even Aaron Gordon, like that guy can score. He can get a bucket, and he kind of hasn't had to in a lot of these playoffs because he's putting so much energy defending Booker and KD. And then even before that, like he's just had to guard Anthony Edwards and just guard the best guy in the other team.
They're deep. But now you're gonna have to rely on guys like D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves. Like he's been balling.
He's been fantastic.
He's been fantastic. Keep on doing this. Hachimura's been going off every now and then. Like you're gonna need these guys playing their hearts out because that's it.
Yeah, this is it's a really tough matchup.
And I like what Ham and LeBron have been doing like motivation wise in the locker room. I don't know if you've seen the videos, but they're like, all right, we got level 1, cool. We're going to level 2, and you got a little harder. Like you got some bosses you got to fight, all that. Now we're on level 3, so to do all that. So it's cool. Cool little motivation strategy they got going on there. I like it, but you're on level 3. You this the boss before the final boss. What you gonna do?
Yeah, and
you better use all your skill points.
There's a lot of legacies that can be made with these playoffs too, and I mean that's every year, right? That's every year. LeBron doesn't need to prove anything more, but this, like you said, is more of an Anthony Davis thing.
Yeah.
If LeBron wins this championship, I don't really see a way that LeBron isn't like considered the GOAT by everybody because like the way that this team looked for a majority of the year, and then they get to the playoffs and they're able to play the extra play-in games and go through a really difficult route and all that stuff, right? But this is again more of Anthony Davis. They only win the bubble championship. That trade sometimes is looked down on because of how much he gets injured, how much a lot of the guys that got traded have done well, right? Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle have looked fantastic at times. Josh Hart's a great role
Hmm.
player. They got rid of a lot of really good guys for Anthony
Yeah.
Davis. It was one championship that people don't give a lot of credit to, which is still stupid, but it is what it is. Uh, there's some legacy there. We've already made fun of Joel Embiid because you and I don't think he should have won MVP this season. Now here's Nikola Jokic, easily the best player in the playoffs this season. It hasn't really been close. He's just dominated. Plus 91 on his plus minus. Plus 91. That's how good he's been. That's hard to do as a starter because typically you lose a game or two. They've lost
Yeah.
2 games or 3 games, whatever it is. He's still plus 92. Unreal. So obviously
Yeah.
Jokic has the legacy there. He's never won anything outside of the MVPs.
Yeah, so
Did
go
get-
go ahead. Not give me three-time MVP. I'll go ahead and win the NBA championship.
And a
Okay.
Finals MVP, by the way, because
Yeah,
that's just the way
okay.
it's gonna be. It's like, oh,
Cool.
you know, yeah, easy.
Cool.
It's what Giannis did. Giannis didn't win
Yeah.
his 3rd MVP, and he's like, oh, okay, I'll just go win a title and a Finals MVP, and now I'm like one of the
Oh.
greatest to ever play the game. Easy.
Okay.
Yeah, easy. So that's what's
Whatever.
that's on stake for Jokic. I don't think this is the last year for it. So like, it's not like a like if the Nuggets
Yeah.
lose this year, they're gonna go get one more guy probably that can shoot a 3 and come back and be a little bit better or
I
worse.
just, I just don't want the Nuggets to keep on being that team right at the gate and falling short every year. I really don't want them to be that team.
Yeah, it sucks seeing those teams, right? It's because sometimes they have like that great player, like the Damian Lillard
Yeah.
Blazers, like they were so close. The Clippers when they had Blake Griffin and all that, like they were so close several
Yeah.
times. Probably should have done better, and they just couldn't get past whatever hump and whatever challenge it was. So I'd love to see the Nuggets do that. Jimmy
Yeah, 'cause you
Butler,
only have so much time doing that.
you only have a couple years. I mean, the Suns look like they're done already.
Yeah. I mean, you bring in KD, and I think he shot 22% from 3.
And I mean, it's not even the shooting; it's just like, you bring in KD.
No, I know, but that's KD right there.
Yeah.
Like you're bringing him so he could be that 3-point shooter.
People
be one
think
of the best 3-point shooters
A lot of
in
people
history.
still consider KD to be the best player in the world, and they have for a while. And you add the best player in the world to a team with probably the best shooting guard in the world with Devin Booker, and you get beat pretty handily 6-2.
Yeah.
That's not like a good sign, right? You get
Like
beat pretty
this would have
handily.
been great for KD's legacy because okay, yeah, whatever. Everybody says Snake, you go to the winning team, all that cool. But there's something to be said that if you're being added to these teams and you're able to just okay, now we're winning no matter what. There's something to be said about that. However you want to look at it. But now that's not it.
No.
Now you got added to the best team ever and you guys won. Cool. You got added to the Nets and the Suns, you didn't. So but what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Is it you? Are you the best or were you just happen to be surrounded by the best? I don't know.
I don't
That's
know.
a conversation to have in a couple years.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't care about the legacy. We talked about that, but there is stuff to be said about it.
He
Um,
doesn't, but at the same time, like when it's all said and done, I know KD's like just in his own bubble with a lot of stuff, and he doesn't care. And I mean, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's playing, and when it's all said and done, he's gonna be one of those guys that just disappears and doesn't really care. I don't know. Can't really say. Gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah. Chris Paul legacy is absolutely cooked, though.
Oh, he's so cooked. He is so cooked.
Perpetual loser, Chris Paul. Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Still one of the best point guards ever, but my goodness gracious. True disaster classes. Consistently. Chris Paul would have a ring if that Lakers deal went through.
It sucks, and that's probably like the downfall in his life story. Like everybody got that trajectory path that if you went this way or you didn't, things change, and then that was definitely it for CP3, and it sucks. It really does, because I mean, if everything was like all shiny for CP3, like you said, one of the best point guards ever, you could have been. And now it's just you're always gonna have that dangling over your head, like you're a loser. That's
It's
it.
great. It's crazy what winning does too, because like
Yeah,
there was a point where we still thought Chris Paul was like better all time than Steph. Like even after like his probably second championship, we're like Chris Paul's or like maybe not the second championship, but there was a point where Steph was
yeah,
being successful. He already had an MVP or
yeah.
two, and it's like okay, Chris Paul still might be better all time just because of numbers, accolades. It's like how long he's been doing it, this, that, and the other thing. It's not even
Hmm.
close now.
Oh no.
It's not even like particularly close. Like when you look at them in the same sentence, it's like wow, every single year that Steph was probably like starting his prime was better than Chris Paul. He won more than Chris Paul. He was crazy what winning does. Crazy.
Yeah, that, it's wild. That's why going back to like Jokic, and I know you were gonna say Jimmy, start talking about Jimmy earlier, and I'll let you go ahead and get on that. But that's why both of them they need to try to take advantage of this, because if you add a ring to your resumes, now you can get put into some conversations,
Yeah.
and that's what they need.
And I only wanted to bring up Jimmy because I don't think Jimmy ever thought he'd be in these conversations or even really wanted to be in these conversations. I think Jimmy just wanted to go out there and play the best basketball he can. And the fact that we're even able to potentially put him in these conversations where it's like, wow, Jimmy Butler's like, we come into the playoffs and it's like, okay, yeah, Jimmy's a top 15 player because of the way he plays in the playoffs. Uh, it's a pretty cool thing for him. I don't think there's a lot of legacy involved, but it is cool that he can have people really remember him,
Yeah,
despite like the never being a superstar caliber player. Because Jimmy's always been great. He's been great since he's been in Chicago, and he's had a couple failed experiments. Obviously, with Minnesota, it didn't really work in Philly and this, that, and the other thing. But he's put on some great performances and been the guy. So it's really cool for him. So he can really assert himself in those conversations. Not that it matters to him, but the main guy too for legacy here is Jason Tatum. A lot of guys still know that Jason can score and that he's really good. He's been I think 5 conference championships already now. He's like 25, so that's crazy. He's been the best player on pretty much all those teams too, outside of maybe the Kyrie team. And Jason has a chance to put himself in that echelon. I know some people might think he is, but there's not really a world where I look at like a team and I'm like, I'd rather have Tatum over Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, LeBron, KD,
hmm,
Steph. Like he's like right below them in terms of the guys that I want. Even maybe like Luca. Like that's a fun conversation maybe to have Luca or Tatum. But uh, listen, the championship goes through Boston. They're going to be the best seed regardless of what happens now. So if they make it to the finals, they have home court advantage. Go to the finals. Go play either the greatest or second greatest player of all time and go play the two-time MVP in Jokic. Beat one of them in the finals. That's a really impressive win. A really impressive legacy win.
yeah.
So that could be really cool
There's
for him.
four.
And he has so much time left in his career too. Tatum will probably play another 12 seasons bearing any injuries. Like he'll probably go and be really
Yeah.
good until he's like 34, 35 at this rate. So could be a really cool start. And the start's already happened, but like now he
Yeah,
got a ring.
he's
So
already building it. He's already building it, and again, this is why we start talking about legacies, because you got four guys who, and it's kind of cool to see because you got four legacy guys that can build upon it on each team, and it's dope to see. And I'm really excited to see how this is gonna play out, because again, we have a straight bubble rematch.
yeah.
It's not like just, I know we spoke about it a couple weeks ago, saying, oh yeah, if it happens going all the way, you'll get the Heat and the Lakers in the finals. But now you got all four teams as a bubble rematch with pretty much the same core, and the
Well,
narrative
it's a
is
little
there
different, but
for,
yeah. I got
well, you still got Jokic, you got Tatum, you got LeBron, AD, you got Jimmy, like, and Bam, like these guys are still there.
you.
Obviously, pieces are added, but the core is still there, and I think that's really interesting, because now it's like, okay, we had this weird, wild season in the bubble. Now everybody retooled. they're back, what's gonna happen? So I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and I think it winds up being a reverse of last time. Last time was Lakers Heat in the final. This time I think it's going to be Nuggets Celtics. I think they're just better teams, deeper teams, and
Yeah.
that's a final I'm really excited to see.
Yeah.
It's one of the best offenses of all time versus just a really good and stout Boston team that tends to go on
Mhm.
stretches this year, especially. They've kind of had some weird like defensive like stretches or like there's some like quarters where like the Celtics just don't miss a shot. So I'm excited to see that. Hopefully that's what we get, but I would not be mad at like a classic Lakers Celtics final. Like that's just classic.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd
The
be
only
really
one I
cool.
wouldn't want is like Nuggets Heat. Like that's like the
I
lamest
don't
in
want
terms
that.
of
Yeah, I don't want that at all.
because also if the
I'm-
Nuggets play the Heat, that's a bloodbath. That's a sweep. That's a
Yeah.
sweep.
Yeah, I'm happy any other way. Just avoid that matchup at all costs. I'm there.
You feel me? Like that one gets bad and that one gets bad quick. At least in my opinion. But
No, I think you're 100% right with that because again, there's a road for the Heat to make it, but there's a monster waiting for them, and you don't want to deal with that.
Jokic's putting
But,
up 40 a game on the Heat.
We're on the same page with the finals, though. I know I think I made that pick either before the first round or after the first round for Nuggets Celtics.
Yeah,
so,
I think it was before. I said Nuggets
Bucks maybe.
Bucks. So that's tough, but I said Nuggets Bucks.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's
cool.
how it goes. Yeah, easy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the rest of the series. I'm happy to be watching this much basketball though. It's been really fun, and the NBA playoffs are just a good time, and it's nice to see some new teams. It's not a Cavs Warriors final, and that's something I can always put my thumb up to. So shout out to that. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure you like and subscribe down below. We will be back again next week. I know we missed last week, but I appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. Make sure you check us out on socials at Spectators Media. We'll be posting all week, as we always do, getting you up to date on the scores, the latest and greatest, and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys next time. Hey, everybody. Peace.
Later.